boy fighters shall not fight top rank fighters. Or I will release 100 plagues on the earth. And kill every firstborn for 1,000 years. If Manny Pacquiao ever fights Canelo Alvarez, I shall smite thee, and remove the sun from the earth, and the daughters and sons of man shall burn. Oscar, go, and tell the fight fans I have heard their cries. Then hold his boxing glove out towards the sky, and I shall work my wonders.
No. That shit never happened. But apparently there's quite a few fight fans that think it did. C10 Players was asked to speak on the whole Golden Boy Top Rank Al Haymon Richard Schaefer situation. We've been asked to do a video on Top Rank and Golden Boy for a while now. Then it became Top Rank Golden Boy Al Haymon. Then Top Rank Golden Boy Al Haymon Richard Schaefer. Then Top Rank Golden Boy Al Haymon Richard Schaefer Mayweather Promotions. Who the fuck knows what new name will be added to the list by next week. But as you all know, Schaefer split. Dumped Golden Boy. Walked out the door. Meanwhile Oscar says no, not I. I will survive. Just as long as I know how to love, I know I'll stay alive. Yeah. What the fuck ever. But for now we're backing Oscar. Because Oscar appears to be the least dirtiest of them all. So we'd have to trust Oscar before the rest. And we're not gonna talk too much Aram here. We'll speak on him and Oscar patching things up in another video. But let's take a look at what we know so far. Oscar owns Golden Boy and the majority shares. It's his company, so he gets the final word. Schaefer has stock, but worked for Oscar, not vice versa. But claims he's not doing this, or that, when Oscar wants to make certain final decisions. And if Oscar does, then he's leaving. Now we want to make something clear. We hear all this talk about how smart Schaefer is. Or how Al Haymon is a genius. Al Haymon is a genius because he figured out that if this guy fights that guy, while avoiding fighters from another company's stable, they can keep the money in-house, while making sure the public doesn't get half the fights they want to see. Like, are you fucking joking? We'll call Al Haymon a genius when he can break down the subatomic level of the subatomic level of the interior of an atom. Until then he's just another Don King. Without his hair sticking up. Because we don't see NASA begging Al Haymon to help them get any rockets to Jupiter. Or terraform Mars. And trust us when we tell you. They can pay him more than he'll make in 100 lifetimes. And don't think they haven't been there just because they don't tell the sheep. Now all the advisors we've seen in life are paid by the people they advise. Not the other way around. Yet we hear he's offering guys like Chavez massive amounts of money. Sounds like a promoter. Like he's operating under one title while doing several other things. Personally though, we've never talked to this Al Haymon guy. And it's obvious he has wit. But we don't see anything to indicate he has some supernatural superior brain. And a lot of Haymon fighters are getting crazy. You see, we've never seen anyone in any form of business spending all their time publicly thanking their advisors. First we noticed Floyd doing it. Then we saw other fighters under Haymon doing it. We didn't pay much attention at first. Then we saw it the second time, then third time.
I want to thank Al Haymon.
Al Haymon.
Thank you, Al Haymon.
So thank you, Al Haymon.
Then after the 50th time it was getting freaky. Yeah. Al Haymon did it for them. They got the fight because of Al Haymon. Now either these guys are the dumbest, most submissive fighters on the planet. Or that's a part of their deal. Since they seem to forget to thank him when they get their asses kicked. But when they win. The way people praise God. Or say all praise be to Allah. These guys praise Al Haymon. We can understand a couple of fighters maybe thanking the guy from the heart. But not every fucking fighter under his belt. So either it's a part of their contracts, or they're being mind controlled. But the shit ain't normal. They seem to be promoting this man and promoting him by design. It's a way of indirectly telling every fighter to go to this man. And it seems to be working. Now you can talk to these guys. They'll tell you that's crazy. Ludicrous. Sometimes that's a ploy. And sometimes they don't even know they're mind controlled. And their followers will say the same. That it's crazy. Then tell you what to Google to prove their point. Yeah, right. We can tell you go Google 2 girls 1 cup 2. So fucking what? They can use that bullshit on fake cult sheep. But it doesn't work on real players. So how's this all relate to Oscar and Schaefer? Well, for one, Oscar already has a name. He's the golden boy. People know that name. And that name was a main factor used to build his company. What seems to be going down in our view is that these fighters are being used to try and make the Al Haymon name just as powerful. Perhaps these fighters all yelling out Al Haymon's name is just a coincidence. Nevertheless, they're still building Haymon's name. And using Golden Boy promotions to do it. It's like owning a truck company. And your fighters are like your employees using your trucks to deliver for you. But on the side, they're actually using your trucks to make personal deliveries without the owner knowing. Using your trucks to help build another truck company. With the goal of eventually having a bigger company than yours. So they can crush you. While using your own trucks to do it. And you don't have a fucking clue. So Oscar got a clue. And found out all these fighters he thought were using the Golden Boy trucks to deliver for his company weren't delivering for him at all. They were driving his trucks to deliver for someone else. Then suddenly Mayweather and Schaefer leave as soon as Oscar decides to make moves with his own company. The question now is, will some new company spring up? Or will Mayweather Promotions suddenly jump in the game? With Al Haymon and Schaefer part of it? Now we want to touch on this shit about how incredibly smart this Al Haymon advisor guy is. Because we hear this shit a lot from his fighters. And we just can't see it. He's said to be an advisor. But seems to be much more in reality. Tito Garcia touched on this, and we're gonna do the same. See, you can put a guy on your baseball team. And call him an outfielder. Even though for some strange reason he's pitching in each game. But he's listed as an outfielder. Even though he's really the pitcher. He's your outfielder on paper for legal purposes. Or your advisor. Now there are a lot of people in this world getting credited for being geniuses when they're not. See, you can take two fighters like Thurman and Porter. And have them fight in their next fight. We hardcore fans want to see it. Maybe they can make some chump change. But if they get by their next opponents, and you manage them right. Put them against decent fighters, but fighters you know they can beat. Build momentum with them stopping a few more guys. Or let them get 30-0. You know what you've got. You don't have a chump change fight. You've got a multi-million-dollar super fight. That's a fact. Does that mean we're geniuses because we know that? Hell fucking no. So why Al Haymon is getting credited as one for this simple common sense baffles us. And don't think the fighters themselves always know what's going on. A few smart fighters do, but most fighters just want a good payday, title shot, and recognition. Now some fight fans will say, look at what Al Haymon's done. Let us tell you. We don't know the man. Who seems to love having his name praised while never giving an interview. But from what we see, most fighters need the man to get a big fight more so than being advised. His connections more so than his super brain. Just because a man's in the seat of power doesn't mean he's the smartest. The same way putting someone in the fastest car doesn't mean they're the best driver. Some of these people just happen to be in certain fraternities, organizations and clubs where they have people who'll do them favors. It's part of the pact. And has nothing to do with them being super smart. Just because someone has a hit song on the radio doesn't mean there isn't someone out there who can sing better, or outrhyme that motherfucker. I personally had to hear a Beyoncé song 6 times in 1 hour while driving home one day. And I like a lot of Beyoncé's music. But that particular song wasn't that good. Yet the shit was being crammed down my fucking throat. All because she has a special pact. Just because it's pumped in your head that someone's the best, or a super fighter, doesn't mean they really are. The same way a guy can run a company because his dad owns it. And not necessarily because no one else can do a better job. And if you think Oscar can't find someone else to do Shaefer's, and better. Think again. Oscar's smarter than people think. The man isn't perfect, but he's learning and says the right shit. He doesn't trash people non-stop and burn bridges. So as we see it, everything going on with Oscar at Golden Boy is good. I mean, would it have been better if he never found out half his damn fighters weren't even his? Even if he suffers a bit, he still has the name. And you can bet your ass he'll never sleep on what's going on in his company again. Oscar has the type of personality where he can mend things with companies and people he's went his separate ways with. And working with Aram is a smart as hell move, considering the fact that those in his company weren't exactly angels. And Oscar certainly knows Aram isn't one. But right now he has to choose between the lesser of the evils. And shockingly, Bob Aram is the lesser of the evils at this time. And we'll say it again. HBO's the place to be. Showtime's just throwing a big Mayweather party, which they'll eventually have to pay for when the party's over. So don't get hyped over these fights at Showtime. There's an old saying, easy come easy go. And don't be shocked if all those Showtime fighters go right the fuck back to HBO. Now we've been asked to speak on some other things we'll get to in another video. Like Aram, Oscar, contracts, and the Cold War being over. As for Al Heyman, Schaefer, and Mayweather Promotions. First we want to make this clear. Fight fans are always asking what's gonna happen with boxing. Because Al Heyman did this, Schaefer did that, Top Rank did the other. These guys and companies don't have a fucking ounce of power. The only power they have is the power we fans give them. You see, everything going on with these guys is about one thing. And that's getting our attention as fans. Without it there is no show, and there's no money. And you'll see just how unpowerful they are. So it's not about what they're gonna do. It's about what we're gonna do. And if Heyman, Schaefer, and Mayweather Promotions are teaming up, we don't see it lasting. People don't want to see fighters only fighting fighters in one company's own stable. Fight fans are getting tired of that shit. So either they end up owning every fighter on the planet, or they learn to negotiate with other promotional companies. Because if they don't, they'll crumble internally. Because these guys could be tore up from the floor up in a court of law. With a top attorney, that is. You see, it doesn't matter how smart a motherfucker is, or how greedy with devious plans. Eventually they have to deal with the boxing god. And the boxing god always wins. By a fucking knockout.